If you're considering moving to or from Frederick, Maryland, you have to know what's going on in the housing market. So in this video, I'm going to cover what has happened in the market in the past 12 months and what you should know as a buyer or seller before making a move this year. So let's just jump right in. Hey everyone, my name is Eddie Brady and I'm a realtor here in Maryland, and I make videos like this every single week so that you're fully informed on what's happening in the Maryland real estate market. So if you have not already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. So we're getting towards the end of January of 2024 and we're finally getting all the numbers from December of 2023. And what we saw at the end of last year is that activity in the Frederick real estate market picked up significantly. And most of that was due to interest rates, but we're continuing to see that increase going into 2024. And when we talk about the health of a real estate market, we have to talk about certain metrics. And one of the most important metrics that we can talk about is months of supply. And what months of supply means is how long it would take the current amount of inventory on the market to sell at the current pace of sales. Typically, anything under 6 months of inventory is considered a seller's market. Anything over 6 months of inventory is considered a buyer's market. And right around 6 months of inventory is a balanced market. And as of December of 2023, the months of supply in Frederick was 0.82 months. Compare that to 6 months of a balanced market, and it's a pretty drastic difference. And not only that, over the past 12 months, that supply has dropped 44%. Compare that to the average housing supply in the rest of Maryland at 1.5 months, and you start to see that Frederick has something totally different going on in their real estate market. And an interesting thing to note here is that typically December is a very slow month in the real estate market. It's one of the winter months that not a lot happens, but this past December, we saw a 100.7% list to sold price ratio. And what that means is that sellers are getting 100.7% of their list price. Now, this is really important to talk about because if you're a buyer, you have to consider that most houses are selling for more than what they're listed for, which means there's still competition in the market, even with the relatively higher interest rates. And the median days on market in Frederick in December was just 9 days, which was down 2 days year over year. So it's taking less time to sell homes in Frederick than it did in 2022, which is a really important metric to track. Compare that to the median days on market for the rest of Maryland, which was 15 days. And you start to see the picture even clearer that Frederick is a very desirable place to move to. So why is this? Why is Frederick selling quicker than other surrounding areas? Well, I think it's because Frederick has so much to offer compared to a lot of cities in the area. It has a great local economy. It has a ton of things to do. It has a great job market. It has a lot of great restaurants in it. So much to do in Frederick, but one of the most important things about the city is that it's more affordable than nearby areas. And the median sold price in Frederick right now is just under $455,000, which is $40,000 more than this time last year. And while that's a significant amount of appreciation, each zip code in Frederick appreciates a little differently. There are 4 zip codes in Frederick that we need to talk about. We have 21701, 21702, 21703, and 21704. And 21701 had some massive gains with a 21.3% increase in 2023 in median sales price. Those are numbers we saw back in the COVID housing boom of 2020. So to see it again in 2023 was a surprise considering interest rates went over 8%. And it just goes to show how in demand Frederick is right now. And then you have 21702, which saw an increase of 4.7%. And while that's significantly less than 21701, we have to remember that this zip code had the highest increase in 2022. So they kind of trade off which zip code is the hottest. And then 21703 saw the lowest increase of them all at 1.2%, but that's because it was really pushing its limits in 2021 at over 17% appreciation. So again, we see these zip codes heat up and then demand shifts to the other zip codes around it. And then there's 21704, which includes the popular neighborhood of Urbana, and it increased just 2.3% in 2023, and that's because they saw their significant increase in 2020. So it's just a big merry-go-round of appreciation in Frederick. All right, so that's the metrics and the quick numbers that you should know, but what else is happening in the housing market? Well, one thing I think you should be tracking is that the new construction communities in Frederick are not slowing down. They are planning on building more and more communities, and if you just watched my video about the future of Frederick, you know that there are some major developments happening across the city. And while these developers and builders saw a slight decrease in prices in 2023 when the rates initially spiked up in the 7 and 8% range, they've since recovered. They've since started taking back those incentives that they were offering during that time, and prices are continuing to increase again. And this is because they can control their supply. They've learned since 2008 that they don't have to hold inventory on the market. They got burned in 2008, so they will not do that anymore. They'll limit supply so that their prices remain elevated and that their demand remains elevated. And as the market starts to increase with activity, they'll increase their production as well. And that begs the question that many of you are curious about, which is how long can these prices continue to increase? Everyone's talking about a crash, and of course there are ebbs and flows in markets. There are crashes that happen throughout market cycles, but right now we're talking about the Fed lowering their benchmark rate in 2024 if inflation keeps trending the direction that it has been. And what that would do for the housing market is just send prices skyrocketing. You also have to consider why Frederick has seen such a migration to the city over recent years. You have to look at Montgomery County, which is nearby, which is way less affordable than Frederick. So people are moving out of Montgomery County, going to Frederick for the cheaper home prices, but they don't want to go as far as Hagerstown. It's just too far of a drive out. So they settle in Frederick and they're perfectly happy with living there. And the reason that people from Montgomery County are going to Frederick is the same reason that people are leaving DC and going to Montgomery County. DC is extremely expensive and is extremely unaffordable place to live. So a lot of people from DC will naturally move to Montgomery County, raising prices in Montgomery County, and it just keeps going up the I-270 corridor. So it's looking like 2024 will be another year of appreciation here in Frederick with high demand and a lot of people wanting to move in from both Maryland and out of state, which many of you watching are from out of state and you're considering moving to the Frederick area. And if that's you, I would be happy to help you with your move. The best way to connect with me is just going into the description or in the comments below and clicking on the link to schedule a one-on-one consultation with me, and I'll get a plan together for you and your move. And again, this video just scratches the surface of what's happening here in Frederick. I have so many more videos on what you should know about Frederick, and I also am happy to answer any questions. You can just reach out to me, send me a text or a quick email if all you have is a quick question about Frederick itself. And as always, if you like these videos, make sure to like and subscribe so you stay up to date on all of my videos about moving to Maryland.